Welcome everybody to this brand new Apex Legends video. In this video, I'll be talking to you guys about the ways in which you can improve your own gameplay, your aim, and finally, your rank. So, this video will be devoted to improving your aim through practice and utilization of the practice mode. I'll show you briefly how to do it, why it works, and quick clips on how it can improve your aim with gameplay. So I'll show you a game before the practice and a game after the practice, just to give you a quick example of how it affects gameplay itself. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. In order to improve your aim, you will first of all need to access the practice mode, which is a mode where you can train your aim, train your techniques and abilities, whatever. So you go into that, and from there, what you do is that you pick up a gun. In this case, you start off with the R301, but I prefer to take the Wingman. So from there, I try to hit headshots on the targets displayed in front of me, and I try to make it so there's a great distance to travel between targets. So if I hit 2 headshots on one side, I have to get 2 headshots on the other. And the fact that I have to switch targets from such a huge distance makes the practice so much more valuable. It makes it much more, not relatable, but similar to in-game situations. So what I also do is that I try to pick a target and then aim for another one that is as far as possible. I would also suggest moving back and forth and just playing around with the distances, because in a game you won't always be in this one specific spot. So what I do sometimes is I go up the hill, sometimes I get down, sometimes I get closer, sometimes I get farther away. It just depends on what I feel like. And as you see, as you might have guessed, switching positions will make it much more adaptable to in-game situations, since in-game fights are usually much more dynamic and you never really get to aim from a specific point unless you're a camper or a sniper. And as you can see, I then picked up a longbow, which is a gun with a completely different aim than the Wingman, the Flatline, or the R301. And I do this just to give my brain a sensation of how every single aim in this game feels. And I do this in order to not need to rely on a specific gun. Because if you rely on a specific gun in game and you don't find that gun, you're in some deep shit. So yeah, basically that's what you do in practice mode. You're not obligated to do this for extremely long amounts of time, but what I do is that I do 5 to 15 minutes before my first game of the day, just to warm me up and maybe practice my aim. As you might have seen from the clips, I'm far from being a god. I still have some practice to do, but this is what the mod is. Alright guys, now that you understand what the practice is, I'll show you clips of me before doing the practice and clips of me after doing the practice to see if there's actually a difference. Now, just to warn you guys, I'm no expert, and I'm not saying this method will instantly improve your game, so we shouldn't expect to see major differences. We should just maybe expect a slightly better aim. So here we go. As you can see, I land safely. I get a couple of guns. I see enemies in the distance. I throw some thermites. Then try to flank them. Yeah. Now let's see where I get to aim, because that's really what we're looking for. And okay, so in that brief fight, I only hit 3 bullets, but those bullets would have been enough, or with this accuracy, I could have killed him if it was on. So just keep that in mind. I would say that's a medium play, I guess. Now, a little bit later in that game, my Bangalore gets cut off. She's alone because her other teammate DC'd. I tried again. So with the Brawler, I actually wasn't expecting it to be that way. It's been a while since I played with the Brawler, so I wasn't expecting the burst. I get the Wattson down, brings down my shield, and since I was already low, the Bangalore managed to just kill me. But I did put on some good damage on that Bangalore, so whatever. Now, since the first game is over, went back into training mode, stayed there for a good 15 minutes, and just practice my aim. The games following will be post-training games, so we should expect, as I've said before, a slight improvement in aim and accuracy. So here we go. Yeah. I missed almost all my shots there. Thank God I had a teammate. But yeah, it is harder to aim with an SMG or the alternator, for obvious reasons. But yeah. He was trying to sneak up on us, but with the alternator, I can just one clip him. And there we go, right there. Missed almost no bullets, but he was pretty close, so that almost doesn't matter. Now, another team tried to get onto us. And obviously, long range with the alternator is not that great of a situation for me, so I just backed off. Tried to land a couple of shots, maybe hit him twice, I think. Yeah, there you go. I run back. We just disengage, and we pick another fight. So I burst that one down with my alternator again. This disruptor rounds is OP, by the way. Do that. Still can't figure out where we're getting shot from. I see him. And a couple of good shots. As you can see, aim is pretty good. I want to say, in this fight, aim was actually pretty decent. That was the first game after the practice. Teammates get down. Put on my shields. Pathfinder chooses to back out. Tries to flank him, but he was expecting me, and I get shut down. Sad fight, sad fight. Now this is a weird one. I was against the Lifeline, who had no guns, and I had a triple take. This really was another one. She was using her teammates' smoke shields, was healing herself. Manages to get her, but she did some pretty decent damage on her and killed one of my teammates. Get down right after her. See Watson with no gun as well, I think. Just basically trying to juke me out. But obviously, you can't do that to me. So, now that the games are over, we can actually analyze them and see whether or not this practice mode thing really does impact gameplay. So, to start off, we'll talk about long range. I want to say that long range was beneficially impacted by this practice mode. I say this since in the first game, I tried to hit a couple of people long range, but I never did. It just didn't work. Maybe that was a single game, which obviously this is not highly scientific. It's just an example. The first game, my aim wasn't that great, long range. And on the other games, it actually improved. Like, I hit, I think, 3 shots, or maybe 4, with the alternator long range, which is really impressive, I think. Yeah, long range, I think post-practice really gets the cake. And for close range now, I don't really think it makes a difference, since it already is so easy to aim close range. And as you've seen in the videos, in the first clip I managed to burst one down, and almost a second person. And on the other games, I also managed to do that, so I feel like close range isn't impacted that much by the practice. But yeah, in conclusion, I feel like this practice mode, or this practice, really impacted my gameplay and improved my long range aiming. So honestly, I would suggest you to start implementing this little ritual before every game or every session you do. And yeah, hopefully we'll both improve at the same time. And thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and stick around for some more videos on the subject.